All right, so I was told by somebody that this particular interface is difficult to understand today. And so I wanted to go over the entire design here and just explain everything. What you are looking at is a trading bot that is using a simulation of sales being the red fish and then buys being the green fish with an overlay of the size of the particular buy. So why is it done like that? Well, because here on this channel, which is the Forex Zcash Live channel, when you see these buys and sales, they're very small and they move on. So I cannot actually keep track of what happened here when it moves off unless I'm starting to write it down or something like that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to automate saving the particular state that it's in. So currently this price is at 353.52. And what this bot is doing is looking for these fish and the exchange is either Binance, I'm sorry, not Binance, but Coinbase, Kraken, and one more exchange which I keep forgetting, OKX. So we're looking on three different exchanges. I cannot get Binance here in the United States, so I can't use it, although I can already see that Binance is influencing a lot of these prices because there are no whales yet. The price keeps moving up and down quite fast. So if it's not done within these three exchanges, where is it being done, right? So it has to be Binance. But anyway, I think with this tracking of these small fish, so what you're seeing is an aquarium that you can actually extend. So what I was thinking, if I had like a computer with a big screen and I wanted to see all this activity, what I could do is just extend it. And then I could see this as an aquarium and I can watch the small sales and buy sales and so on. So this is Zcash. This $4,000 Kraken that's rising over here has a value of $4,000, and this one is $3,000. Then we have a small Coinbase fish that's $2,000. So I have added buttons here just to simulate to what it will look like if you are simulating the Kraken. So we're gonna release the Kraken, and the Kraken comes in at $78,000, and that's what it will look like if we're also gonna test the whale. So we're testing the whale. Whale is incoming here, and it's time to be really slow because I don't want to miss it. The thing is that in this particular interface, these trades, when it starts moving beyond like 2 or 3,000 trades per minute, this is scrolling by so fast you can keep up with that. But here you can definitely keep that, especially if you then scroll down. So I'm gonna make this as small as possible, and I scroll down to the live feed over here, which is also extendable, and it can show me that within 3 minutes we had three cells. So that means that we're not gonna buy if it's like exceeding $30,000 because if there's a whole bunch of selling, we don't want to buy it. Period. Okay, and I may even increase it to $50,000. But $30,000, if these sales are happening, and then you would see sometimes at the same time, it will also be accompanied by buys, right? So if somebody is selling and buying at the same volume just to generate some sort of activity, I'm not interested in that, and I'm gonna ignore all that stuff. What I'm looking for specifically is sales and buys by looking at the big whales. And that means that if I just limit to whale buys like this, then I'm gonna see that within the last what is it, 7:34? So right now it's 8 o'clock. So the last whale that came in was 30 minutes ago. So I'm not buying anything, even though 351 price for here was interesting, and the price now is 353. So this means that Binance is most likely executing all these trades, but I cannot see them. However, in the past, I did trigger a buy over here at 350. That means that I now am taking $16 for 5 Zcash. Now, eventually, this will fill up with a maximum of 6 buys, and the 6 buys are triggered by 3 wells within 2 minutes, which we'll see in this window right here. So it says 0 out of 3 buys. And now if this screen is too small for you, then you are, you can't see it. So you may have to actually buy this bot for me to see all the details and, be able to actually take advantage of this thing, because once you let it run, it will do exactly what you tell it to. So again, what I wanted to do here is if it reaches 359, so I think 359 was earlier today. Let's look, 356. So look at all these prices that keep going up and down. So we have 358. That was today. I mean, look at that, right? So we actually, I think at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was up to 359. So what I had instructed the robot to do is, if you're seeing such a rise in price, so right here, 361.91. So what I said, okay, look for the peak. So whenever I buy that, so here it's 350, and look for the average peak. If it reaches that peak and it drops down by $2, immediately sell it, meaning that I'm keeping $6 per buy. I mean, $6 per coin. Okay, so what this is doing, literally, it counted up to 361.97. It's that was the peak, and it sold it at 359.61. Now this sale is not listed here. You could only see it on my Coinbase account, because that's where I go to see what happened. And on Coinbase, I can see that there were 5 different sales happening at the time. So all my profits at that point were protected by the $2 drop. And what I have instructed the robot now is never sell the what is it called, the stop sell. So stop sell will screw you over, because exactly these people are playing you for dropping, forcing these buys and sells with these minor buy and sell. So if anybody actually has tons of money and wants to keep it, they will not be doing this. What they're doing is they're using small buys and sell. So currently, what I'm seeing is that the overall prices, if I actually select all and both, right, the sizes are roughly 2,700, 2,500, and so on. So if I see only show me the buys, and the buys currently are lower than my setting, which is $59,000, $5,900. So you can see the whale threshold right up here. It's set $5,900. So this USD value for a whale to be a whale needs to be above the $5,900. But I'm seeing that there's a whole bunch of stuff that I can actually sort it by. Look at this. So this whale here came in and they bought $144,000 at 360, right? So what's happening now? They're actually losing the money. So there should actually be a sell. If I look at this, yes. So they lost that money. You can see 113 right now. They sold it at 351. So that's probably exactly this same buy. The guy panicked and sold at 130. So look at this. 360 times 144, which I don't know, that's, I probably shouldn't add like a calculation of how many coins that were, but now if you look at the sell, it's about the same value. So this guy then sold at 506 today, but he bought it at 9:49 a.m. So this morning he bought a whole bunch of coins. It wasn't going the way we wanted to go, because he bought it at 360, but then sold at 351. That's $9 per coin. So this is why I'm actually managing the size of the buy by setting it to only $1,500 as a whale, and I'm only letting it to buy 2,000 at a time. So here, if I reduce this to say $3,000, okay, so let's see, what do we have? we have wells, and we want to look for buys, more recent buys. So we're gonna sort it by when did that actually happen. Where did it go? Oh, okay, sorry. So the most recent whale buy happened at 7:34, which is 30 minutes ago, at $7,000. Okay, so if I say, okay, now give me everything. So at 7:42, 41, we're seeing 3,600 and $4,000. So we're missing out on a whale technically because these two particular buys would have triggered my buy if it was configured for that size. Then again, 741 and 742, that's only two within a 2 minute window. So all these buys, actually, even the mid buys, they're not within the 2 minute window. So what I want to see is whales like this, where the mid and whales combination is within 3 minutes. And if it's within 3 minutes, to me, that's a signal to buy. Okay, because I'm hoping that somebody out there knows what they're doing, and I'm just kind of tagging along on their back end. And if they're buying, they must have a reason. Okay, so this window right here, the 0 out of 3 buys, will be populated with 3 green wells when that happens. So when we see 3 green wells in this window, we start buying. So currently 353.7 is not, I don't know, it's not high enough really to actually go in and start buying, because I think it will drop down below that price just because there's no buying whales. And what is this? 7:42. It's like 20, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Oh, there's one at 7:42. That's about it, right? So that's 20 minutes that there had been no buying. And what we want to capture is going back to this particular interface, and you can see that indeed the buys are very small right now. So 400, 500, that's small. We want to see three or more buys per minute. So we want to see 3,000, 4,005. And when this coin moves, that's exactly what you see. You will see up to $20,000 trades per minute, and this price is just flying up. So what we want to do is we don't want to miss that and just buy it as the volume is high, price is rising, and then wait for 2 minute drop down. And if it doesn't drop down, great, but it always does. So this is Zcash. I mean, look at this: green, red, green, red, green, red. Right. So this is over and over, and I got really into buying this coin last year when it was very low, and it got up to 720, and I basically really liked this coin because it was making me a lot of money. But now I'm just losing money. So what I'm looking for is price drop. And look, right here, red, whole bunch of red stuff. We don't know what this particular cell is. This could be Binance. And the reason I said that is when I look here, and I include the whale both, we're seeing $7,000 here at 8 o'clock and nothing in the last 10 minutes. So when I'm looking at this right here, and the buy is beyond my whale size, then that means that's Binance. Okay, it's just not in my list. Now, I would love to include Binance because it would make the trading bot perfect. But I think in order to get Binance, I would have to set up a tunnel to some Chinese country that allows access to Binance, and then collect the prices from there. Now, I haven't done that yet. I don't know if it's worth it because actually this strategy is currently working. So we can see that the price is not going up, 352.95. So that means I don't want to buy anything unless I'm starting to get whales within 3 minutes, within 2 minutes, that are higher than whatever the setting is over here. So I'm gonna change it right here to say, okay, so we actually, what we want to do is we want to buy whale at 3,500. Okay, so we're gonna now save that, unlock it, and restart that. So this has done it. And I'm gonna lock it down so that way nothing can change it, because there's actually background processes in the back that could be changing this. And I got tired of that happening by the bot just doing it by itself, and that had to stop. So we now have a buy of $3,500. So what should happen here is that these whales now should appear more frequently. So we have a, let's see, do we see anything that shows up here? We got a 3,500 considered as a whale, so we got sales, and we have a stop. Basically says if we see a bunch of whales, we're not buying shit. That's basically it. Because I'm not gonna feed that family. I want my family to be fed, so I'm not giving you my money when you're selling. You either participate in buying, and that's great, but if you sell, that means I'm not playing game. Okay, so we now have this particular value set. So if I set this to only buys and whales, what I'm seeing is that these are coming in at 742. So again, on Kraken, that was the last buy, and that's the last one in the list here. So I'm not gung ho to go buy stuff, but I'm gonna save what both look like. We can see now that 803 we had a whale at 3,500. Also, basically somebody selling at 353.98. So when we look at the price here at 350 you can see that this particular buy or sell had an effect on the price by trapping it. Okay, so we don't want to do that, and I'm gonna enable all of them. So we have a sell here at 814, 813, another sell bit below, another sell below. So we basically are now counting to say, okay, if you're selling and you're selling within $30,000, thank you for letting us know, but we're not buying. Okay. So then you can see that the cell now, actually, the 2x cell enters this tiny little aquarium. And I don't know if I can make it any bigger here, but just for now, I'm going to increase it to like 133. So you can see there's a whale coming in. It's two whales at $12,000. So basically, I should just display like finger, thanks for posturing, but we're not interested. What we're looking for actually prices like this. This price would be great if it's accompanied by whales. And we can see that whales were there earlier. So for what I'm saying here is, let's zoom out again. We do, let's see, back to 80%. So this is 80%. And what this strategy graph here shows me whether I'm successful or not. So if I am actually successful, now I can see that there's a plus 97, $2.97 profit being taken by this particular buy right here. So overall, because it was 5 coins, 5.7 coins, the overall take is $18. Now what I can do is I can sell, I can just take this guy right here and say, okay, I'm tired of you posturing at 354 and I'm gonna sell it to take profit. Okay, but I'm not gonna do that just yet because I have the bot set up to do exactly that for me. Okay, so additional features in this particular interface is, so we have open positions that basically allow me to buy and sell. So we have okay, at 814 we apparently had two whales and we got a buy-in. So look at this. We actually had 20 whales. Look at this. This is amazing. I'm gonna increase the size of this because this is exactly what I'm looking for, right? So let's look at the big size. We have 20 whale buys all at the same time. 20. Okay, that is fantastic. So that means that something is turning around. Okay, when somebody starts buying that high, there's a reason for it. So let's look at here. We have the buys. of whales happening all at 8:15. I look at this, it's like a sequence of things happening all at once, and these are all above the current whale size, which is 5,000, 7,000, 5,000, 9,000, etc. So now I am basically moving beyond or below the $5,900 price and buying it when it accumulates in chunks of, what is this, 3,500? Yes, 3,500. So we're looking for anything that's above 3,500. And as we can see here, it accumulated. And it accumulated at 354. Bunch of these whales came in. So what happened here is we bought it. Okay, so we bought it. And now we have this entry at 354.02. And it is 17 cents down because it's exactly what happens when somebody sees a bunch of whales buying stuff. What they will react with is start selling. Okay, so let me include the sells, or let's just do both. Okay, so what happens is, why is it dropping, right? So that to me makes no sense because there is no sales on Coinbase, Kraken, or OCX. Okay, so we must have sales happening on Coinbase. I mean, on Binance. So Binance is probably looking at these prices, and apparently people in China have access to Coinbase and all these things, and they see the price go up to 354 from 352 or 349, whatever it was earlier, and start selling. Now we don't see the sales over here, we do see, well, actually, let me do both. So we still see no sales, no sales anywhere. Okay, so that means Kraken is basically buying. Kraken is buying like crazy, and it's buying right now at 8:18 or 3 minutes ago. So we felt that was a good signal to buy, but because Binance saw that, so they started selling because here we don't see any sales. So let me set it back to whales and only buys. Okay. So now we're seeing the prices over here within 3 minutes. So the whales over here is moving off. And we have this purchase price over here now happening at 354, and it's going down by $5. But the thing is, if there's that many whales, it will probably recover because these whales are not going in just for no reason. So you can see in real time it's actually recovering here. So we have $15 take on this particular buy, but $4 loss on this. So overall we have $10. We're only taking $10 right now because we have only 10 coins. So it, you know, the game is afoot, but once it starts going to like 360, and now we start capturing the peak, and we're gonna say at $2 we're gonna sell it and take that profit. So that's the goal right here. So when I'm explaining this here, we have small fish. We have actually test money button. This is pretty cool, actually. So I have it configured that if it's a $10 rise for this coin, it will release test money. And it just basically floods the screen. So if I'm watching this remotely and I don't have any music or anything like that, actually I wanted to add like some sounds. Maybe like add a sound when there's a $10 price increase. I wanted to play a sound so that I can hear it and come in and watch it in real time because I'm not always by the screen. So if I'm releasing the money right here, great. We can add a lobster and we can release the kraken and we can test the whale. Okay. So we have lobster moving across right here at 34,000 Oz. I actually think this lobster should be bigger than that. We have a whale, simulation whale, and we have a simulation kraken right here. Okay, so we basically would see all of these things execute all at the same time. And what this is waiting for is the global win for Zcash, meaning everybody's just buying tons of it. Okay, so when everybody else is buying, I want to buy too. So let me collapse this, keep this at a minimum so we can just see whatever is happening here. We have one whale in action right now, so that's not enough to actually trigger the buy. And we're down $1. Okay, so what I bought it at 354. Let's go back. We have these. So other people bought at the same price. So I'm not really losing out compared to anyone else. But it is showing here as a unrealized failure to actually make profit. And that will happen. I mean, that's normal with this coin, right? It goes up and down. So what we're looking for now is the price increase overall so that we're not losing money. So as we can see here, it's actually slowly decreasing. Maybe related to the buys, who knows? But we now have back 337 and it's moving towards recovery. But what I removed from this particular bot was the panic sell. What it was doing at $2 drop, because I did not want to lose any money, I set up a panic sell for $2. So when it sells it for $2, and when it drops below $2, it just sold everything, just basically to protect me from losing money. But really, what it was doing is screwing me over because it just sold my entire position, and then usually it was right at the bottom. And then by the time I actually saw what happened, the price of the token was $10 up again. Okay, so again, look at this performance. We have 360 down to 350 within, what is this, like 1 hour or less? So we have a $10 drop, $7 or $8 recovery, $4 drop, $3 recovery, $4 drop, $3 recovery, $4 drop, and what is this, like $6 recovery? And Zcash is doing this every single day, okay? Because it is a manipulation coin. So whoever is doing this is basically doing this to make money and to sway people into buying it by doing these cheesy low trades. Okay, so these low trades over here are there to make you believe that you are actually making a good decision by buying or panic selling, because when you sell you lose that money and it doesn't go back up. So what I again done over here is I've removed all the sales, no more selling, only buying. And if it reaches a peak and the peak keeps growing, it will remain at the price, well, it will remain holding onto the coin. And we currently have a sell lock, so basically the stop sell is configurable. We can turn it off and say, okay, when it reaches $2 below the price I bought it for, go ahead and sell it. But I have a sell lock on, not allowing those sales to happen. I also have to add a couple buttons over here to reconcile, because what was happening is these sales were not showing up in my window down here. So I have this buy at 414, so it looks like it actually bought, it bought this right here at 814, and it did not add a new buy, so I need to fix that. So we're gonna actually go to Black Hole Surfer and take a look what's going on there. So let's go here and refresh. It'll ask me to log in again. So we're gonna log in and look at the incidents, and it says it did buy at 354, 2114. So I think that's correct. What it didn't do, it didn't add it to the list. So this is 2604270008. 24008. Why is it showing up for 14? Okay, bought 354. So this here 354 at 8:14, but it shows it at 4:14. Okay. Look like it just did another buy. Okay, so we just created a test incident just to make sure it's actually buying. And this was 420 again. Yeah, that's wrong. That's off by 4 hours. So I think this is like, I don't know what time zone that is, but that's wrong. Okay, so what we have now is we have 414 bought, and over here 2114 it shows bought this right here. So that needs to be fixed. Okay. We don't need this test. We can delete that. Let's go back. Find this one and select. Delete it. We don't need it. Okay. So if it actually shows over here, um, it's just historical. No, it's gone. Okay. So it does check the list of incidents and just adds it right here. So we do have two buys, 814, and I thought it just did another one, but maybe not really. So do we have whales? We have no whales. So it's not gonna buy. It's not gonna buy until we have whales. So this one buy 354,002.02 was purchased at 8:14. That's correct right here. And now this one is this morning. So cool. We fixed that part. And does it actually show the sales? So we have a buy, buy, and then sell. Okay, so we have no sales. And now we're looking for whales. So again, I don't know if I need to explain this one more time, but everything actually you need is inside this console. Up here is the time. What time is it right now for you? This is version 4.6. It's macro trades for Zcash. It's called Maximus, meaning we're going to make maximum profit using this coin. Now, if you're buying in $2,000 trades and you're looking for whales that are bigger than $3,500, it will occasionally show that you're actually losing money. Okay, just like right now, 352, we bought it at 354, so we're losing $7 overall, 464. But in the long term, when it starts rising, it will start watching the peak. The peak right here actually is not 354. It has to be up by $8. which is configured right here, $6 actually. So meaning if I bought it at 350, it goes up to 356 and it keeps climbing. It will start counting from there. For this one, it will be 360 and then we'll just start counting from there. And if it drops down $2, it will take those $6 as profit. And it will just keep doing that until infinity. Okay. Until I run out of space on this particular droplet. So this is a droplet on DigitalOcean, and all of these things can be configured. So this is all for Zcash. Now for Solana, we have the same configuration actually happening here, waiting for prices to populate here. Okay, we have $84, and the position here is not great. Solana has not been great last couple of hours. So as we can actually see, we have a whale size has to be $15,000, which means right now 84.50, and we have 5 positions, and I said no more than 5. You're done 5, and that's it. Because here we're now losing $400, so now I have to wait for Solana to actually recover from this doldrum. Okay, so meaning if you can't recover, I'm not interested in buying anything from you. I'm gonna stop after 5 positions. So the 5 positions are right here. Max positions 5. That's why these show 5. Now, if I buy manually through here, it will let me add it to the list, but it will not automatically buy anymore. So we have whale for both showing at 8:30 over here. We have lots of selling. You can see the selling pressure on Solana is not great. So therefore, I'm not gonna close this position because I don't want to lose this money. I'm just gonna wait for it to recover, and it will eventually. It may just take a week or two. Okay, so while that's happening, this is just sitting here waiting to be sold, and the profit is take $3. It's not really that high. Okay, so if I actually bought these at $87, this needs to go to $90 or so, $91 before I take the profit on any of these. But when that happens, it is a total of what is this, like 106 or 105? Yeah, 110. So 110 at $3 profit, it will be $300. So right now I'm actually down. So you can see this fluctuates, goes up and down, and it really has to do with what's happening with this particular coin. And both of these interfaces are matching. So one thing to look for is where am I at? Okay, so Solana or Zcash. So if we switch to Zcash, we immediately see that the price is different, and here it's going down as well. So that's the that's how it works. It goes up and down. So we're actually now losing money, but we just have to wait and get the money back. So the configuration panel here, maximum positions is how many buys it's allowed to buy. USD per trade is how much do you want to commit to that particular buy, and also for sales. So again, for selling, I only allow what it was bought for. So if it's selling at $2 profit or $2 drop from the peak, it will take the profit for out all of them, meaning the whole position is gonna move. Okay. So that was a pretty long video explaining everything about this particular interface here, including these incidents. And the reason I have these incidents so that I can go back here and actually look at the performance rate. So here I can see that there are a lot of buys and no sells. Okay, the last sell was at like yesterday. We sold $17,000 at that point, and we lost $120 overall. And the reason is because my bot had a malfunction. It just crazy sold. So I said, you're not allowed to sell anything at all. So if you're watching this and you're one of these traders that wanna like manipulate the target, feel free to lose money, okay, on my behalf, because I'm here to actually make money. So eventually somebody will buy it. So good luck anyway, and wish me good luck here. When it goes to 360, this should be selling and I should be making some money here. So the goal is that every day if I can make $600, that's great. That's $6,000 in 10 days, $18,000 in a whole month. So we're here to win. Okay. So leave comments if you have any. But I think I'm explaining this to death. Okay. Eventually, by the way, you can also export this to a CSV. So if you're looking at the both all sales over here, so we can say, give me an export in a CSV file. Now I can open this CSV file and I can run an analysis. It has all the sales for the last 24 hours. So everything that was traded here can be fed into a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet can be used to run analysis on these prices, like how far apart are they, when does the price peak, what's the sizes, and so on. And these are not my buys, these are the market buys. So whenever a market buy happens on Kraken or Coinbase, this actually ends up being tracked. So I usually will do analysis, but for now, I'm just feeding it actually to this particular interface here, and the analysis is happening here, right? So the current improvement here, entry at 352 overall, and sold at 352 overall. So we're really up 20% or 20 cents for the whole thing. But again, if you hear earlier and you're looking at these prices, so this was like $120 earlier. If I wanted to take profit at that point, I can do that. But I didn't because I'm greedy and I want more than that. So here now, waiting for whales. Again, thank you for watching my video. Hopefully this explanation covers everything. There is a design spec on GitHub, but it's protected. So if you want to have a copy of this code and the design spec, let me know. I will provide that for you as a service because it is one of the services that I provide on my website here. So we have ZCash Traders, right? ZCash Traders, ZCash Alert Management, Trading Bot Premium. So this one here actually is Zcash. So it's associated with $29 a month. If you wanted to buy premium, that's code and support per month. Or you can buy Zcash Trading Bot regular, which is just the code itself, and then you can load it into your Claude or ChatGPT and just basically use that code as a source to create your own bots. Okay, so I am making this into a product. That's it. I want to make some living here. I'm not doing this for just fun. I do want to make it for you that you can benefit as well. But you need to understand how this works. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.